Hey guys, I was just reading this. Florida declares state of emergency after toxic red tide outbreak. I'm going to explain what that is in this video. It's actually really heartbreaking, the amount of marine life and that is dead because of this. Florida has declared a state of emergency after a toxic bloom of algae known as red tide has spread throughout the Gulf of Mexico. The red tide is a naturally occurring event. However, it is exacerbated by sewage and fertilizer pollution from farms. And this year's red tide is bigger and has lasted longer than previous years. And toxic bloom in the sea has made it difficult for those living in the area as well as driving away tourists, affecting income for local businesses and killing countless amounts of fish and marine life. Florida Governor Rick Scott has declared a state of emergency in 7 counties stretching from Tampa Bay south to the Everglades and promised a $1.5 million in emergency funding, reports are saying. These pictures are a little hard to look at for me. Animals mean a lot to me. Marine life means a lot to me. And the fact that their lives are being taken away and not even feeding people. Not even for, the survival of human beings. This is being done because of pollution. Residents have reported respiratory problems from vapors coming off the red tide, making it difficult to breathe. Worst of all, massive amounts of fish and other sea creatures have been washing up on shore due to lethally high concentrations of algae. Dr. Bartleson, a scientist with the Conservation Foundation, said there are no fish left in the water. Red tide killed them all. All of our concentrations of red tide are still high and would still kill fish if they were out there. Videographer Ivy Yin from our Children's Earth Foundation traveled to various beaches along the Florida coast on July 30th and the 35th. She's captured footage of dead endangered loggerhead turtles, lifeless manatee floating in the water in Cape Coral, and thousands of fish that perished in the ocean from this algae bloom. Just heartbreaking, okay? Just literally heartbreaking, as if we don't have, enough issues facing marine life. We have this issue as well. Dr. Bartleson added the red tide event has been prolonged by human activities such as farming, developing, and manufacturing. Over the past number of years, the buildup of chemicals such as phosphorus and nitrogen, among other elements typically found in fertilizer, have provided the perfect ingredients to worsen the bloom. Heather Barron, head of the Center for Rehabilitation of Wildlife Veterinary Hospital, said the red tide outbreak has collided with the height of sea turtle population. She said normally red tide season is over in April, but now sea turtle nesting is at its peak and you have adults in nearshore waters because of that, and they're being affected. Though red tides are a natural occurrence, they have been seemingly increasing in length and severity since the 1950s and 60s. Scientists are trying to understand why this is, especially around the Florida Gulf Coast. Ivy, who also recorded a video, said the unprecedented loss of life is being caused by red tide event that is far beyond historic or natural levels due to ongoing sewage and fertilizer pollution. There is no escape for these animals from the effect of human indifference, poor resource management, and climate change. Governor Rick Scott said in a statement, We will continue taking an aggressive approach by using all available resources to help our local communities. I'm issuing a state of emergency declaration to provide significant funding and resources to the community experiencing red tide so that we can combat its terrible effects. The efforts to deal with red tide are ongoing. Okay, let me explain something to you. He's talking about the effects on human beings. But what's going to be done for marine life, okay, and fishes and turtles and every other thing that's alive? What is going to be done to help them? Why haven't we heard about this before? Why hasn't anything been done? Why haven't they come up with a counteractive chemical or natural system where they can alleviate the amount of algae in the water and save some of this marine life year after year? It's not just a human issue, okay? We need to save our marine life as well. So the governor could talk about how much he's going to try and help the communities, but what about the marine life community? Does anybody care about their community? Does anybody care about these fish and turtles and dolphins and whales and sharks and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Does anybody care about this shit? We need to make a difference. We need to stop this shit from happening. We need to save our environment because we are the only ones that can do that, okay? These animals cannot fight on their own, and we need to be their voice. So these people need to get it together. Somebody's got to come up with some kind of a concept to stop this from happening year after year. And of course, we're only hearing about it because it's the worst it's ever been now. So, of course, they weren't going to bring this up before. They're only going to bring it up when it's beyond the point of counteraction. I pray for these animals. I hope that this is not causing them suffering. I don't want to think about them not being able to breathe, and it's just very heartbreaking for me. I know there's a lot of people dying in this world, but people have control over their lives. Animals do not have control over their lives. We are their voice, and we are the only ones that can fight for them. So let's figure out something that we can do. Let's share this video and make this a widespread thing so people understand what's going on. I'm sure there's people who have no idea this is going on, me included, until I just read this article. So please share this, and let's just pray for our environment and our marine life. Haven't they been through enough between oil spills and ocean pollution and just humans taking advantage of them? I think they've been through enough, and I think it's time for somebody to do something about this. And we need to give a shit, okay? We need to give a shit about this planet. We need to give a shit about the animals that are on this planet. Because if we don't give a shit, nobody's going to give a shit. So I'm going to leave it at that. Please post your comments below. If anybody else has any information on this, let me know. But in the meantime, let's pray for these innocent creatures that are being killed from this human, okay, population of algae and this human fertilizer and this human garbage being dumped into our oceans. Okay, let's pray for these animals because they really need it. Hey guys, I was just reading this. Florida declares state of emergency